Hey Kin, welcome to your feedback notes. Please pause the video and see which member of the wheel feels strongest now, then do it again at the end of the video. Enjoy. Hey Kin, welcome to your feedback notes. So I'm going to go through my notes as usual. We're identifying things we want to pay attention to, things we want to draw out and appreciate, things we see as points of amplification. So I'm just going to be reading them off as usual. Okay, so after we went through our breathing to enter the space, we spoke to the topic for today, which would be facing validation and self-compassion and implementation of techniques to keep us present. And as we know, we didn't quite keep in that light because we didn't get too far rather in that light because we had to stay in the first part where it says facing validation of self-compassion, and we had to stop a moment and remind self that we're asking for permission to enter the space and to listen to what the body really wants to fully process. And it may not be what we think on the surface level that we should process, but rather if we say, okay, inner child, okay, my love, tell me what you're really thinking and feeling about. And it tells us, then we have to listen. So there you had it happening. If there is one technique, it is to just listen, to just be still and listen and allow. And listening, there are many different ways to listen. Just being still, just breathing, writing, processing, recording yourself and listening back to yourself. When I give you the opportunity of the platform to write to me between sessions, and then you go back and listen to yourself, listen to your tonality. Do you sound like you believe what you're saying? If not, speak to it, etc. So we didn't go all the way through because we had to stay in the space of validation and self-compassion, and I was so proud of you actually giving that permission for us to keep on the topic that you didn't quite expect us to keep on, but also opening us up to seeing the tangents of that topic and why that topic was so important to stay on in the way of partnership, and where we first learn partnership and then giving ourselves and all involved the appraisal and taking that inventory of, have I ever been loved? Have I ever been appreciated by my measure? Okay, and then also before the actual today, setting the intention, I was quite excited, and I do appreciate and value the point of amplification of you catching us in the beginning and going, wait, let's enter the session before we go on a tangent. So great job in catching yourself and being response able for you to maximize all of that time that we have in the session to say, let's enter the session. Let no talking happen before we consciously enter the session and re-sign that contract to say, dear body, I am listening. I give you full permission to explain to me, dear SD wheel, explain to me fully what's going on here. What would you like to say? Okay, and then we move into the updates, and you said that you had been clearing a lot of things from your mom's space, and we know how we break down a lot. So you're actually moving earth, moving self, moving blood, moving being, moving mind and heart, transforming and cleaning and clearing space from what is considered your mom's space and shared space and your space. You've been cleaning and clearing that out, so that's very important. So I would like to know what specifically what have you realized about yourself, of the things that you have been able to either touch again and come into contact with, and or thank and say, okay, you have served your time with me, and or I realize I never really utilized you in the way that I thought I would, or things that you resurfaced and brought out again to be like, oh, that's where you are. and seeing those parallels in life, in the way we interact with ourselves and how we utilize our own creativity and our resourcefulness. Then you had on boyfriend and partner issues, feeling like a coward, and we processed that the space of fear is just as in simply, but not to oversimplify, and just as in justice, the body's justice of notifying you that this will change your life when you eventually face the way you relate to this partner and partnerships in general, and your receptivity to adoration beyond just growth. When you do that, it's like taking your breath away. That's where the word coward comes from. But we want to take that kind of energy away and see it as the fear, see it as the nerve system, see it as angst and a notification of the body saying this will revolutionize your life when you finally find the dissolving point and the resolving point with this. Saying that I couldn't say I'm done, and checking yourself to see, were you just focusing on one part of the relationship, or were you facing the relationship as a whole? And I wanted to say that obviously overall, as we ended the session, it matters to you where you want to focus. If it makes sense to face the relationship in one part because that part is loud enough to release or transform the relationship, then so be it. And if you feel that facing the relationship as a whole still doesn't keep you in the space of feeling empowered by the relationship, by your measure, then you have your answer. And still, even if you have your answer, self-compassion will still require you to allow yourself to mourn and grieve and feel through. And it takes time to have a relationship, so you have to unravel like string as well, and find the points where you thought that knots were unraveled already. You'll still find them. It's like when you're resting on someone watching TV and then they get up, you feel the sensation of what's missing, and those sensations cause different things, primarily and commonly hurt, but not necessarily. So allowing yourself to experience and observe the you who is now not just unraveling from this relationship, but unraveling from any way of relating to relationships that is no longer authentic by who you are to date. And that can still mean that people may stay or leave, but that's not the point. It's a matter of how you are relating, how we are relating to what is coming in, going out, and interacting with. Okay, and then I wrote what matters most in our relationships by our honest interpretation, which we had gotten to a point, and you were like, I guess I realized that, so we said, oh, you'd have to process that more, also grieve the old way and take in the new way, K(NEW), the way that is, yes, you knew that you are new to, but also that you've always known that was a lifelong goal inside of you, which is always to be more you, and whatever you're figuring out that to be as we go through our metamorphosis and our changes. And then to say, what is it that you've currently realized are your measures? They are measures that have been taught to us and projected onto us, and things we like and we see, but are they really who we are? And when we take that accountability and we see what we're actually acting upon, what style of love do we really believe in by our action? And what changes would we have to make if we had to now start living and responding and partnering in inspired action? And then we spoke of grieving the dynamics, but also celebrating the new dynamics and allowing yourself both spaces. So what are the spaces that you would say you've already come to a summit with, but you haven't taken the chance to declare the lessons learned and celebrate and look from that mountaintop, look and be like, wow, look at all of what I've gone through, go me, like taking that time to do that is very important. Then I have intention and purpose of the relationship. So what is the intention? That would be the fun homework. What is the intention and the purpose of an intimate partner relationship for you in your life? It is not general. It is so specific. You might be very surprised as to what you come up with. You know, the way that you relate sensually, sexually, erotically, emotional availability, physical availability, fun, learning experiences, adventure, building things together, working separately and independent collaborations. We spoke about compromise versus collaboration and cooperation. What are the roles of a dynamic and ultimate lover for you based on who you've become and who you are by your interpretation today? And then we spoke on, in that space, it feels lonely and you are alone, and taking ownership. What I want to put to you is taking ownership of the fact that you are on loan to others and others are on loan to you, and how we utilize that time with ourselves to take time to be self-centered, self-centering, self-amplified, self-activated, and relating to others in authenticity by our measure. Not just to say these wonderful words and sound so eloquent, but to really get into it. Look up the etymology of those words. Find the root. Remember where you first learned to relate, where you first felt lonely, abandoned, neglected, where emotional availability was first taken from you, where you felt that first point of betrayal of I need and oh I guess I don't deserve, where you first felt that. Where are those foundational moments that taught you like, oh I guess I should carry on, I can carry on, I guess I can be lonely, I guess I could be a lone ranger. There's a difference between feeling lonely and taking ownership of your own time and then looking forward to iron sharpen iron in intimacy of all sorts. Yes, with lovers and intimate partners, but with all sorts there's an intimacy between you and I. So, you know, I love taking time by myself and working things out and then bringing it back to sacred dialogue session to all my kin and showing my bloom and watching your bloom. So we are on loan to each other. There are sensations of loneliness that are projected and taught to us and also put on us because we are disrespected and violated in context, in spaces, and those things must be declared because we are our justice system. So in a once and for all way, you must know them and confront them and face them in you and admit them without guilt and without dilution. But once that is done, then you take ownership of the person that is here now and the fact that you are a phenomenal company to be and to be with and to experience and to observe and to share consensually where you'd like to enthusiastically share that being you. And then on the end you finally said, in finality you said, not finally as finally, but at the ending you thankfully said that what you were taking from today was that that's all that matters, how I receive love by my measure. And that you had fought for a while with notions of other people's notions of authenticity, and you realizing, no, when it comes to love and adoration and partnership, my measure of authenticity and resonance is what matters most. And in the way of physics and metaphysics, yes, it is what matters. What really comes into form is what we really feel and what we really are acting upon. So how are you acting like that? How are you acting like that's what you want and need, and start checking for it in a fun way, in a gentle way, doing those appraisals and being that consultant that we can hire to say, hey, secure the bag, let's go get ourselves loved. We are so deserving. We deserve that adoration. We have it and we can cultivate it and amplify it. See you at your next session.